How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Infinite Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder. To recap the final game of the three-game set between the Yankees and the Reds, I apologize for no recap. Yesterday, I was working, so I wasn't able to do a video, but it's kind of a recap slash preview, if you want to say, as the Yankees will begin a three-game set in the Bronx with the Athletics, just the Athletics. No Oakland, no Vegas quite yet, although I did see some videos about the new ballpark in Vegas. They are starting construction with that, and it should be ready by, I think, 2028. So, yes, the Yankees will begin a three-game set with the Athletics, but let's talk about the final game against the Reds. So, it's been a tough series. It was a tough series for the Yankees. They lost the first two games. They should have won the second one if it wasn't for another bullpen implosion and just the inability to execute the small things, the little things in extra innings. But they did win a solid game. They had 13 hits, and they put up 7 runs. They end up winning by a final score of 7-1. And the only run that the Reds scored, that was in the fourth inning. It was a throwing error by Jazz Chisholm that allowed the run to score. So Max Fried didn't have any earned runs to his ERA in that game. But solid performances from Trent Grisham. He had 4 hits on the day. And also Jason Dominguez, 4 hits on the day for himself. He went 4 for 5 and a couple of hits, a couple of nice line drives from the right side, which is what he has struggled with this year. So if the Yankees could get him going, if he can get himself going from both sides of the plate, that would be a huge plus for this team. And when he gets on base, I mean, he's one of the fastest guys on the team, and he could steal bases. And I know, again, I sound like a broken record with what I'm about to say, but having that added to your lineup with the speed of Dominguez and Jazz, and when Volpe gets on base, even though he's kind of struggled with that recently. I mean, you need that in your lineup. And you go back 4 or 5 years ago, the Yankees really didn't have a ton of speed in their lineup. They just had a bunch of guys that got up to the plate and tried to hit home runs. So, and speaking of home runs, Jazz Chisholm, after being ejected the previous game, he hit a 2-run homer. That was a shot, and had a little bit of something to say to Jose Trevino. So, a little bit of a friendly banter between the two, because Jose Trevino had an interesting series because, not only was he playing, Aaron Judge's walk-up music and Carlos Rodon's warm-up music in the second game, but, when Jazz Chisholm was still frustrated over the strike call, and he was still, talking to himself about it, Trevino supposedly told the umpire, "Hey, look at him, he's still talking," and that kind of led to Jazz being thrown out of the game. Because they let Jazz go for a while. I mean, he was being held back by teammates. Aaron Judge was talking to him. He wasn't calming down, and then he goes out to third base, for the bottom of the inning, and Trevino, tells the umpire, he's still going, and then he gets thrown out. Now, I know some people, the Yankees weren't happy about it. Fans are not happy about it. Well, look, I think Trevino, you're doing that because, hey, Jazz is a good player, and if you can get him thrown out of the game, that's a plus, because then in the extra innings, you had DJ LeMahieu coming up in a big spot instead of Jazz, and he didn't do anything. Whereas if Jazz was up, maybe Jazz could have did something, and maybe the results would have been different. But who knows? We could play that game all day. But yeah, so I wanted to bring that up. But yeah, a 2-run homer from Jazz, good games from Dominguez and Grisham. Like I said, Aaron Judge had an RBI double down the left field line. Stanton had a chopper on the infield that led to a run. A runner scored from third base. Also, Volpe hit a sac fly. And again, the Yankees running the bases, I don't know what's going on with them recently, but they're back to being what they were last year. But it's a sac fly. Ben Rice has all the time in the world to come home and score. Now, he does score, but what happens is he's tagging up, but then he goes back to third base. I guess maybe did he forget, did he think he tagged up too early? Whatever the case may be, he has to go back to third base, and then Elly De La Cruz gets the ball on the infield, but he doesn't throw it right away because I guess they didn't expect this to happen with Ben Rice. So it ends up being a very close play at home plate. Ben Rice ends up scoring, though, so no harm, no foul there. But just imagine if he gets out on that. I mean, it's inexcusable. It's inexcusable. That should not happen. That should not happen. But Yankees still got the run. And as for Max Fried, he pitched very well. Pitched very well, like he has the whole year pretty much. 7 strong innings, 7 strikeouts, 4 hits. The 1 run, again, was unearned. And how important has Max Fried been since the Yankees signed him. He's improved to 8-1 with a .93 ERA, 7 earned runs in 68 innings in 10 starts following a Yankee loss. I mean, he's a stopper. He's a stopper. The Yankees have won 13 of Fried's first 17 starts, and with Gerrit Cole going down, they needed this guy, and he has really been a great replacement for him as the Yankees ace in this staff. They're 33-30 when anyone else starts. So again, that just shows you how important Max Fried has been. And, the debate on, were they better off with Soto? Were they better off with Plan B? Maybe for the immediate future, they were better off with Plan B because you're going to get Gerrit Cole back next year, although we don't know how Gerrit Cole is going to look post-Tommy John surgery. But for right now, Plan B looks better. And Juan Soto, he's tearing it up for the Mets right now. So right now, everybody's happy. Well, I shouldn't say that because both teams are still struggling, although the Mets did, win a couple of games against the Braves, thankfully, after, getting swept out in Atlanta. They won again last night. So, but another injury for them. I was watching the game. Griffin Canning looks like he's going to be out indefinitely. Carlos Mendoza said, because he landed awkwardly on the pitcher's mound, he said it's likely an Achilles injury. So yet another Achilles injury. Now in baseball, we had basketball, the football injuries with the Achilles, and now a baseball injury regarding the Achilles with Griffin Canning. So Frankie Montas actually pitched well for the Mets the other night. Now that makes that really important, getting him back, and we're still waiting on Minaya and Senga to come back with the Mets. So so I was watching the Mets last night because there really wasn't anything on. I know the NBA draft was going on, but there was NBA playoffs is over. There was no WNBA games on last night. Even though I'd probably still watch baseball over that. No offense, but unless it's the Indiana Fever, but or the Liberty. There really wasn't anything on, so I just figured I'll put on the Mets, and they picked up a win. So now both teams are in action tonight. We are exactly 1 week away from Part 2 of the Subway Series, which I think could be better than the last one. Because, the Yankees now, they got Stanton and Jazz back for this series. Juan Soto is now hitting. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. But, yeah, not really much else to take away from this game. Fernando Cruz came in the 8th inning, and he struck out the side. And then JT Brubaker, I shouldn't say closed it out, but he finished off the game. Pitched a scoreless 9th inning. He's looked good, so far. Very small sample size, but in 3 innings of work, he has given up no runs. So, and maybe he could be an option in the rotation if the Yankees need him to. But I think he's got to be built up more. We should be getting Marcus Stroman back. Not really excited about it, to be honest. I'd like to see them bring up Cam Schlittler and have him start because he's been looking really good in AAA. So, and maybe that's what the Yankees end up doing if Stroman just comes back and he just doesn't have it. But in his latest rehab start, he was not good. So, Yankees got to look at other options. And Luis Gil still ways away. But the Yankees picked up the final game of the 3-game series. They won a game against the Reds. So, we'll take it. We'll take it for what it is. But now they go up against the A's. And the A's are not very good. Yankees should win this series. I'm going to say at least take 2 out of 3. I know I said that the last time, but can you win a series? And they're 2-0 in both games that I've gone to this year. I'll be there tonight for firework night, and hopefully we'll see a ton of home runs. So fireworks in that department. Hopefully we see that. Maybe Giancarlo Stanton goes deep. I'd like to see him go deep. I'm waiting for that. We're waiting for Big G's first homer of the season. But the A's got a bright future with the young players they have on this team. They're going to see a couple of former Yankees on the mound this weekend. J.P. Sears on Saturday, and then Luis Severino, his first start in the Bronx since he departed. He'll be pitching on Sunday. The Yankees tonight, they'll be seeing Mitch Spence. He's 2-2 with a 3.84 ERA, and the Yankees got Will Warren tonight. Clark Schmidt pitches tomorrow, and then the starters to be determined on Sunday. So I'm guessing, is that Stroman? Is that when Stroman's going to start? So we will see. But let me know what you guys think, though. about this series against the A's. Again, they got a bright future with this team. They got good young players: Jacob Wilson, Nick Kurtz. And this team, give them some time, and maybe, they'll be some sort of a playoff contender. Maybe not definitely not this year, but once we get to when the new stadium opens, you could see that. So, but yeah, looking forward to the game tonight. Let's see what happens. But let me know what you guys think about the series against the Reds. Not the prettiest of series, so hopefully the Yankees can turn the page and win the series against the A's, who are not very good. But we will see. It is still June, so the June swoon is still upon us. So hopefully, they can, tuck that away for the final few days in June here against the A's. And what are your guys' thoughts on this series with the A's coming up? So I will be there tonight, so, I'm looking forward to it. But as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to follow us on all social media platforms on TikTok, Instagram, X, aka Twitter. Also, if you want to listen to us on the go, you can follow us on Spotify as well, wherever you get your podcasts. So as always, I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, signing off. Have a good one. Enjoy the weekend, and I will talk to you guys next time. Take care.